Plaguestar has returned. It's only available until September 24th and brings a unique farm for Built Former, alongside other goodies you can select from the CAC shop. So, how do you run this operation quickly, solo or in a group? I'm the Engineer, let's solve a practical problem. Plaguestar is an infested meteorite turned giant boil embedded in the plains of Eidolon and infesting a landscape. Your job is to put it down, but the Grineer wants it to overrun Cetus first. There are 4 stages to Plaguestar bounties. Stage 1, you steal Grineer and Finish Toxin to use on the boil. Stage 2, you defend a toxin mixer for 3 minutes while it prepares the toxin for use. Stage 3, you escort a Grineer drone to the boil to deliver the toxin appropriately. Stage 4, you clear up the infested arrive, including the hemocytes to pour out every 25% progress on the advanced and steel path versions. Mechanically, this isn't too different to running a Plains of Eidolon bounty, right up until you have to deal with the hemocytes. I'll walk you through each stage and what optimizations you can do. In general, I would recommend a solo player use Vault to run this operation. You can also use Nova for harder but slightly faster runs. Other frames will be less effective, though you can get work done with Wisp and Loki for example. In a squad, having a Nova is exceptionally useful and should be brought every time. Other roles can be more specialised and therefore more options open up. Vault and Wisp remain solid options, but you can also benefit from Titania, Rhino and Dante. Others can be used, but bring much less to the objective. For stage 1, the only modifier to success is speed. You need to get into a specific Grineer cave and grab the Thrax Toxin with bounty success the moment you begin to take it out. Firstly, when you start the bounty, coming in from Cetus, deploy a Necromech as close as you can to the exit door. This holds it open so you can exit just a little bit faster later. Naturally, this won't work if you intend to use the Necromech later for any reason. You can also quickly open up the main menu, click on the Nightwave button, then exit the Nightwave screen to dialogue skip. This cuts off Konzu and Lotus with Nora Knight's much shorter voice line, moving on to the actual bounty more quickly. Open your mission map in full, default key being Hold M on PC. When you see the marker pop up for which cave to go to, either teleport to the nearest blink pad, or just hustle over to the cave if it's Twin Horns. If you're using Vault, you can activate speed and then go into Archwing to make your Archwing move at incredible velocity, though it's still worth teleporting to the further sites first and then speed over from the blink pad. If you're using Titania with Razorwing Blitz, you can sit in pixie mode during blink pad usage, casting whichever preferred ability to enhance your speed. You maintain your form and buffs on teleport, unlike getting kicked out of Archwing, allowing you to immediately take speedy flight on the other end. Once you arrive at the Grineer cave, make your way inside and navigate to the toxin. If the cave involves a large open area where you feel you may get lost, drop a waypoint at the exit tunnel to help you navigate out more quickly before any mission waypoint eventually shows up. If the cave involves an elevator down, skip it by slipping around the gaps in the shaft and slam attack down to the bottom. When you get to the bottom, use the call panel to bring the elevator down, then immediately continue obtaining the toxin while the elevator descends. The toxin is obtained with a simple interaction, no hacking needed. If enemies and turrets look onto the toxin pickup, you may wish to use operator mode and hold crouch to become invulnerable to safely obtain the toxin, as the animation is not short. Once obtained, you can switch back to your warframe and pick the toxin up off the ground much more quickly and safely. Once you have the toxin, head out of the cave as fast as you can. Again, with any elevators, don't use the elevator. Because you called it down earlier, it's out of your way for exiting, giving you freedom to use Operator Void Sling up to the top for another small time save. If you have any spare time before the next waypoint is called, head towards the infested boil to drag the next mission objective closer to it. Now if you're in a group, there is room to be even more efficient here. With Loki's decoy augment, Savior Decoy, you can entirely skip the leaving the cave section. Before entering the cave, to get the toxin, deploy your decoy somewhere safe where it won't get shot at. Then, go into the cave and obtain the toxin as normal. You do not want to be invisible for this. As soon as you begin to extract the toxin, you have it. The rest is just animation. This means you actually want to be shot at while grabbing the toxin. Some spawns don't have enemies around the toxin, so you need to jump in front of someone to shoot you instead. Regardless of how you get shot, on lethal damage, you'll swap places with your decoy while still holding the toxin, having left the cave by direct teleportation. This relies on you being quite vulnerable to enemy fire, mind you, which makes you more vulnerable for later sections of the mission. A Speed Vault or Portal Nova can still exit the caves quite quickly without compromising their tank. However, any frame can have decoys subsumed onto it to permit use of the Savior Decoy exit skip. It's an option. Now for Stage 2, the defense. Go to the marked mixer container, open it, and put the toxin into the mixer panel just inside the large container. You defend for 3 minutes until it's done, with no means to speed that up. There's precious little optimization you can do here, so have fun. Or, if you'd rather sit back and relax, an on-call crew member can be summoned for exactly 3 minutes. Start your defense, summon the crew, and let them pop off for the entire defense. I recommend using an elite crew member with the Kuva Tsar equipped. While we normally have to deal with ammo and reload concerns on the Tsar, NPC crew do not. Run around the area to guide the crew to fresh angles for optimal obliteration, and otherwise to pick up loot. 3 minutes later, the defense is done. Grab the toxin out of the mixer to end the stage. It will wait indefinitely until you remember to grab it. Stage 3 is escorting the drone. You will need to first find, then escort a drone to the boil. These can spawn quite far from the boil, over 800 meters sometimes, but usually spawn close to your defense location. This is why doing a defense near the boil, by being near the boil before Stage 2 begins, is a good idea. Take the toxin over to the Grineer drone. The waypoint shows the exact location of the drone, but it turns into a circle to obscure the drone's position when you get close. Mentally keep track of the marker before it becomes less helpful, so you land precisely on the down drone. Again, Volt can speed buff Archwings to get there faster, while Nova can portal over. The drone is considered an ally while carrying the toxin, allowing it to receive various buffs and use allied means to navigate more quickly. Volt speed can greatly enhance the drone's movement, and is my recommended means to speed up the stage with minimum effort and maximum results. At high speeds, the drone will bypass all Grineer attempts to stop it, trivializing this stage. Wisp can also speed buff the drone, though not as strongly. If you're using Nova, you can instead place portals for the drone to go through. Try to find good long lines of sight for long portals, place them ahead of the drone's path, and avoid having the drone exit too high above the ground, as this can confuse it. If you're successful, the drone will pathfind into the portal and shoot ahead on its path, shortening the stage. Similarly, Loki can switch teleport the drone to a forward position. Move ahead of the drone, aim carefully at it, then switch. Due to the long range being, well, long range, you may find it hard to accurately grab the drone and not an ally or enemy. However you go about speeding up this stage, speed is really all there is to it. The drone will get to the boil, so long as someone is with it the entire way to escort it, and the stage is complete. Just before we talk the final stage, if you find these guys helpful and want to support the channel, become a subscriber on Patreon and get more beyond the videos, with a link in the video description. Stage 4, the boil. Once poisoned by the toxin, the boil will violently react. This will cause infested to begin to appear in the area, with increased spawns from the ejected spawn pods. This is a good thing. You want lots of infested to shoot. Kill infested to progress the stage. At roughly every 25% progress, the gauge will be locked while a hemocyte spawns, unless you're on the easy mode bounty. This is where the greatest set of optimizations come into play. The hemocyte will slowly emerge from the boil. Nova can use her molecular prime ability to speed up the hemocyte and get it out more rapidly. Due to the Nova rework we recently had, you no longer need to build her for negative strength. Instead, slow and speed are tap and hold casts of the same ability. Briefly stand atop the toxic boil and cast the expanding field to make the hemocyte hustle. Alternatively, a non-Nova can subsume Equinox's rest and rage ability. With the day form chosen, using a bright emissive colour on your warframe, you can cast Rage to make the hemocyte move more quickly. Second optimization, Armor Strip. The hemocyte is armoured and resistant to removal. Instead of abilities, use a Vastalok or Sarpa to remove the armour. These gunblades use multiple projectiles, ideal for use with Shattering Impact. Your melee only needs Shattering Impact to work, no damage modding, but you can mod it with attack speed to make the removal as quick as possible. After a few shots, the armor icon will shatter and you'll know you are good to go. This can be done even while the hemocyte is still exiting the boil and showing as invulnerable. Third optimization, defeating damage attenuation. Oh yes, this boss has damage attenuation and an old school version of it. damage it takes per hit is capped based on how much health it has left, shrinking your damage per hit as the battle progresses. Also, you can only damage its 3 heads in specific places, and then only when open, unless the game decides to shenanigan. Despite these being clearly heads and weak spots, they do not count for heads or weak spots for any mechanic. Incarnate charges and headshot mods will suffer tremendously against Hemocytes. To counter all this, use a high fire rate, high multi-shot, strong hit scan weapon. More shots and more multi-shot means more individual hits to repeatedly slam the attenuation, rather than one single shot hitting the cap and going nowhere. For this, you can use various weapons, but the 2 most stand out to me are the Kuvahek and Strun Prime. The Kuvahek is a staple of attenuation obliteration, and was my go-to choice for one-shotting sentient Archons back before they adapted to that damage. While it cannot one-shot the Hemocyte neither, its alternative fire mode still delivers an obscene multi-shot, making for a quick and accurate result. But even stronger is the Strun Prime with Incarnate stat boost but not using the Incarnate mode. This shotgun delivers a barrage of pellets, which again is brilliant for bypassing attenuation. While the reload on it can be long, having a Volt in the squad using high strength speed will reduce that time down tremendously. For both of these weapons, I recommend whoever is doing the killing uses the Helmet ability, Energized Munitions. This ability will make you spend 75% less ammo for a short time, effectively giving you 4 magazines per magazine to unload at the Hemocyte. More shots without reloading means you'll tear through it even quicker and can apply even more fire rate without running into constant reload issues. This gives the Kuvahek with magazine modding the ability to fire 8 alternate fire shots per reload, and the Strun Prime a full 40 shots per reload. If you don't like shotguns, Titania can be used for a Dex Pixia here to open up on the heads with high fire rate. Consider using Arcane Pistol here and shooting some infested mobs in the head first to get infinite ammo for a short moment. If you are solo, this stage is a big part of why I recommend Volt. You can have damage buff from his 3rd ability, speed and reload from his 2nd ability, crowd control, damage and shield restoration from his 4th ability. Replace the first with Energized Munitions and you're a 1-frame setup to handle all, but speeding up the Hemocyte's entrance into the fight. In a team, you can be any of the frame options and still be supported by Volt for reload speed. Maybe Rhino or someone else with damage buff abilities, leaving you freer to focus on efficient bullet application. Last optimization, keeping the heads open. Shooting the heads in a hectic, infested field fight can be a pain. Even using a control ability to slow or stun the infested mob, you still have a strangely mobile Hemocyte to shoot. Nova can theoretically switch to Slover once the Hemocyte is out, but you may find this mistimed and unhelpful. A near frozen boss when it closes its head is just a forced waiting stage. Rhino can help with his 4th ability, Rhino Stomp. It's quick to cast and will greatly slow down the Hemocyte for a short time. Doing this as a head becomes vulnerable, particularly the scythe wielding head, will make it a lot easier to blow it up. And then there's the Gorgon primary weapon. It can use the Metamorphic Magazine Augment to temporarily petrify the Hemocyte, doing a job similar to Rhino. Use this to stop the beast with its weak point exposed, and either clean up with a secondary or let your DPS ally do the shooting. However, if your team is fast enough, equipped with a lot of high speed, high multi-shot weaponry, then you'll find a slowing effect is not needed. The 2 ranged heads can be volleyed down in a single opening, while the melee head can be managed with good timing. Should the melee head do a slam attack and get stuck in the ground, you can pour shots into the top of its head while stuck to kill it quickly there. Bringing this all together, you've sped through the 1st stage, called in an NPC to clear the 2nd, speedily escorted the 3rd stage, and overwhelmed the defences of the 4th stage. The bounty completes on the 4th Hemocyte kill, you get your standing, and can go shopping. Return to Cetus through the still open door thanks to the Necromech we placed at the start. If you're Volt, don't forget to speed buff everyone so that Archwings are that much faster. In testing, our group could complete the advanced mode in under 10 minutes, so about 6 runs per hour. The Steel Path mode isn't much longer to complete if everything goes well, so again, a fully set up group can get up to 6 runs per hour. With the standing rewards available, this comes out to around 6 to 7 built former per hour, equivalent to about 70 to 85 plat per hour when we look at the cost of buying former. Solo, the rates will be slower, as you just can't do everything. Solo runs quicker than 12 minutes are plenty doable, though you may find the intensity of it a little too much of a burnout risk. I wouldn't expect most players to consistently beat 5 Forma per hour solo given that. Plaguestar is undoubtedly a fast way of getting Forma and a unique way of obtaining some other limited goodies, especially if you want to avoid trading with other players. You can grind this to your heart's content, but please take it steady. That's all you need to know when it comes to Plaguestar. So as always, buff your speed, watch your greed, and fight well, Tenno.